Thank you, Shortform, for sponsoring today's video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the cardinal sin for all of you readers out there. And this cardinal sin is none other than the reading slump. This horrible period in your life when you just don't feel like reading anything. Or this period of time where the authors that used to make your heart sing, they no longer do the job. Or a book of poems that you used to love no longer trigger the same set of emotions in you. That is the horrible reality of reading slumps. All of us got into literature and books for different reasons, and I'm not sure what your reason is. But for me, it came from a place of finding a voice that wasn't mine, but perfectly reflected how I felt. It all started with a kind of mutual understanding that I was craving from reality. But reality and civilization sometimes, they just refuse to give you that kind of understanding that you're craving literature and books. And getting yourself attached to one of these books could be a very addictive experience because for the first time, you felt understood. You felt like your opinions, your prejudices, your turbulence, your emotions were validated by a voice that is not exactly your own. But somewhere down the track, something's going to change. Because you've enjoyed that emotional high so much. You've enjoyed that high in the clouds so much. You've enjoyed that period of resonance so much that you kind of, in a sense, you do not want to return to mundane reality again. So in a sense, your life becomes a piece of fiction. You refuse to look up from your book and you refuse to engage with life directly, of all its complexities, all of its problems, and all of its turbulence. And gradually, your identity turns into a kind of reader's identity. You're living books. You're very interested in books. You can quote many books, and you can quote many books in many different languages. And for me, there's nothing inherently wrong with this bookishness, or with this sentiment, or with this urge to find a hidden reality behind the pages. But for me, getting overtly attached to the label of being a reader, or overtly attached to being the literary person, or the person who's really, really good at reading a lot of books, this right here is the precise cause of this panic, of this uncomfortable feeling in your chest whenever you're going through a reading slump. All of us functioning two different realities. One reality is how people perceive us, and another reality is how we perceive ourselves. In a perfect world and in a perfect inner world, those two realities will align, but sometimes reality just don't simply work that way. As a reader, when you're experiencing a reading slump, it feels as though your reality within your mind is crumbling. It is as if you don't fulfill a certain criteria, or if you don't read a certain number of books, you're not qualified to be this reader. You're not qualified to be a reader, or you're not qualified to be this literary person anymore. And that's precisely why reading slumps freak us out so much. And that's precisely why sometimes, if you're experiencing a reading slump, it's good to re-examine your motivation for reading. What is exactly that original cause? That initial yearning that you felt for books? What is exactly that? And what exactly stood in the way of that? You can only answer these questions for yourself, and I'm not here to give you any answers. And frankly, I don't even know what the answer is. But for me, it's very important to get away from the identity of a reader and to sink your teeth more and more deeply into your core motivation for reading. Because no one's got a perfect reading list. No one knows what you're thinking, and no one can exactly solve all your problems through recommending a bunch of books to you. For me, at this stage of my life, I don't really think there's a need to panic when you're experiencing a reading slump, or when you're going through this period where you're not exactly reading much, where you're not exactly engaging with the literary world. For me, that's really a symptom or a call to action, something to get you out of your door, out of your library, out of your books, to go out there and live reality for a little bit before you return to books and find a brand new appreciation for these books that you used to really love. And only this time around can you get a deeper enjoyment out of reading. Can you return back to the source of your love for reading? And I really do think that a fundamental solution for reading slump is just to give yourself that period to grieve, that period to sort things out, that period just to live for a little bit. And the only way to really reconcile that is through detaching yourself from this reader's identity, detaching yourself from this ridiculous fiction that you've created in your head, and allow that organic urge to read to come back again. And that, for me, is very important. And that's the end of today's video. And today's episode is in part brought to you by Shortform. Shortform is a platform that gives excellent summaries on nonfiction books. And if you're interested in something outside of the realm of literature, or if you're looking for nonfiction books on the subject of literature, I highly recommend a summary for how to read literature like a professor. But do keep in mind that Shortform is not a place for you to just access the summary of a book, but it is an excellent place for you to build up a repertoire of your understanding. There was a video of mine that was quite popular. I think about a year ago, I made a video about a year ago on commonplace book. And I think right here, Shortform is an excellent way for you to build up that commonplace book in a more efficient fashion. So you don't exactly have to write up your own notes. You don't exactly have to keep your own set of explanations. And How to Read Literature Like a Professor is basically a very simple guidebook for how to investigate or how to read deeply into literature, and I'm going to link that book in the description down below. And as a viewer of this channel, Shortform is offering all viewers a discount on your annual subscription and a free trial, and that is also in the link in the description below. Thank you, Shortform, for sponsoring today's video, and thank you for watching today's episode.